Buff Bagwell had just as much charisma as The Rock. And he did. Buff Bagwell, bro, had so much freaking charisma, but we all know about the demons, Chris. And we all have our demons, man. And that really killed his career.
Let's briefly talk about the unfortunate news of Buff Bagwell, man. He was on Maven. Maven did an episode of him going through the process of having his leg amputated. Buff Bagwell went through the explanation of having to basically stand on his leg and not being able to even get in the car well, and having to put the seat all the way back in order to get get into the car, and basically having a still leg that has to be able, that he has to carry around, for the rest of his life. And he's like, hey, let's just get this thing above the knee amputated. They showed a picture of him, and now he's an amputee, man. This largely came from a car accident that happened a few years back, but just a lot of wear and tear, and just substances and things like that has to do with all. It's just really a compilation of things when it comes to Buff Bagwell. Vince Russo is someone who worked with Buff Bagwell. What's your thoughts on this unfortunate news?
God, bro, I couldn't watch it. I tried watching the Maven thing when he brought him to the hospital.
Yeah.
And the day of the show, I shut it off. I couldn't. I couldn't handle it, man. I really couldn't. I was shocked, bro. I had no idea that he was in that kind of shape, that he was close to anything like this. Bro, I made the statement, and I'll never forget, I got so much heat for it, and I will stand by the statement today. When I went to WCW, I made the statement that Buff Bagwell had just as much charisma as The Rock. And he did. Buff Bagwell, bro, had so much freaking charisma, but we all know about the demons, Chris. And we all have our demons, man. And that really killed his career, because the guy had it all. The guy had charisma. He can cut the promo. He can cut the, he had the looks. He could work. He had it all, but he had his freaking demons, But yeah, bro, this story threw me for a loop, Chris, because I had no idea this was going on.
Yeah, he was super over. I always remember Buff's entrance, man. I've got a sharp memory for theme songs and entrances, and I always remember his entrance. He would do the thing and do the pose, then he would turn around and he would just kind of do this to the pyro, and the pyro would just come up like boom, boom, boom. He would just point to it, and it was just great, man. And his theme song was great too. There was like a pocket of time where, like late '90s, there was a pocket of time, man, that guy was super over, just super over, man. And he had so much potential to just rocket launch and being one of the biggest stars in pro wrestling, man. But like you said, unfortunately, there were so many things that came in the way of that he succumbed to in many ways. And so it's sad to see that, when it comes to this stuff. EC3, what say you about this situation?
Yeah, I didn't know about it till the email for the show talking points, and then it sucks. I did not watch it. I don't want to watch a man lose his leg. I never really got to meet or interact with Buff too much, maybe in like passing at a convention or two. It's interesting, Vince saying, he has as much as charisma as The Rock, and naturally Vince takes flack for having an opinion, though. And even when I said that, I went, come on, really? Then I thought about it for a second, and, well, Vince knows The Rock, and Vince knew Buff Bagwell. And then when you add into the fact the demons, I think everything that was probably negative about him stemmed from that issue, Because when you maybe watching the work back in if he's like a locker room, like kind of a D head in the locker room, well, because demons, and it's not necessarily because he's just got this huge ego, or like, the quick rise to fame. I mean, the American males, right? Like, he came in pretty young, got famous pretty quick.
Very young.
Business will tear you apart, will ruin your brain, especially like when you're over back then and there's nothing to like ground you. Like, your head can go real high in the sky. So maybe he did, maybe he didn't. Like, he definitely had charisma. He was definitely unique and interesting to watch. And it sucks. And I do hope he finds health in any sort of way, shape, or form.
Yeah, indeed. There's definitely life after amputation. He even said, I liked his perspective on it too. He was talking about how, like, you know, he was considering it, and, you know, of course it sucks to lose a leg, but he was looking at the Olympics. He was looking at the Olympics, and he was seeing people, you know, who were amputees, like running like fast, you know what I mean? And he said he looked at that and that inspired him to be able to say, you know what, I'm gonna be okay. And I like that. I like that twist. I like that perspective, man. It really sends a positive perspective of people going through that. And I've given therapy to people going through that process, and you know, people, family going through that process of it. It is so difficult going through the process of becoming an amputee. There's just so much of coulda, shoulda, woulda. You know, a lot of times it happens because of, you know, being diabetic, and just the man. You know, you just kind of have a turn to life that's very morbid and dark. You know, thinking that you should have done this, you should have taken this medication, you should have paid attention to your diet, all these things that usually happens when someone gets a leg amputated. And there's a lot of mental health strain that comes with this process. So I do appreciate the fact that he did use it for more a positive light, and that can be inspiring to a lot of people who are looking at that. So I commend him for that for sure. So we got Vince Russo, we got EC3. I am Dr. Chris. This is the Wrestling Outlaws. Have a good night, everybody. So long.